Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this is Refuge from Narcissism. And this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Summer. And here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I grew up with a narcissistic mom, and at the age of 14, she moved her boyfriend in to live with me, my dad, and I'm not even through the first line yet. So you're 14 and your mother's moving her boyfriend. That always. Let me tell you something. If you're a mother, okay, and you have teenage daughters, and you're bringing in a live-in boyfriend to come in, you care more about dick and attention than you do your family. And you're saying she's moving in, which I'm not even through the first line. That your dad is still there. Hold on. I grew up with a narcissistic mom, and at the age of 14, she moved her boyfriend in to live with me, my dad, and my sister. Yes, my dad was still living in the house. So you can imagine it was pure hell for at least a few weeks or a month before my dad was able to get us out of that house and into an apartment. Wow, so your mother basically abandoned the family without leaving the house. So your father's the one, so you went and all lived with your dad as your mom moved in her new dick and attention, and your dad's the one who left with the kids? Wow. That must be some of that male privilege we keep hearing so much about, right? Must be that patriarchy. Because a man would sure be able to move a woman into a girlfriend into the house with the wife still living there, and then the wife would have to leave with the children. That's how that would work, right? And you're leaving a house to move into an apartment? This is what your mother did to you? Wow. He is disabled and was often sick throughout my childhood, so it was very difficult for him. She would tell everyone he was faking his illness, even though I would go with him to the many doctor's appointments and know he wasn't faking. She just wanted everyone to believe he was the monster when it was really her. She would get drunk every night and berate all three of us while I was growing up, calling us terrible names, slamming doors so hard the door frame cracked, telling us we were all useless, and even physically hitting my dad while he laid in pain on many occasions. Because she worked in a cushy office job at a university, academia. Of course. Where do you think she got all these ideas? Okay, well, I mean, it's who your mother was, but it's why she ended up in academia in the first place. Let me lie about my husband, say he's faking an illness, okay, so I could get my dick and attention. That's that patriarchy. That's the patriarchy there, boy, huh? Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Because she worked in a cushy office job at a university, she managed to make everyone believe she was perfect and we were the problem. Or the university's the problem. Her working in academia is the problem. And most anybody working in that office environment is probably very identical to your mother. That's why they're there in the first place. That's why they're thriving there in the first place. Worry not the opinions of other sociopaths. Worry not. There's nothing you can do about it, Summer. I went to therapy for a while, and when the therapist found out what she was doing to us, she called CPS without asking me, which only made it worse because they just came into our house, looked around, and left. Of course, she acted like Mary Poppins while they were there, but the second they left, all hell broke loose. And you know why they didn't do anything? You know why? Because they were investigating against the mother. Okay? And you have a lot less chance of having CPS pay attention to you, okay, if the complaint is against the mother. Just the way it is. And your mother's so emboldened. The second they're out the door, it's right back. It's worse now. Because she knows how the system works. She's in academia. She's working for a university. She knows how the system works, and she knows how to work it. My childhood memories consist of her driving us blackout drunk and swerving on the freeways, throwing temper tantrums whenever she didn't get her way, and treating people she perceived as lower value than her like they were slaves, waitresses, or store employees, crying on the kitchen floor because her coworker bought a better house than her, telling us inappropriate things about her sex life at a young age. Just insane stuff. No, typical behavior of the borderline mother. This is typical behavior of the borderline mother. You put her in a profession, in a job, i.e. academia, where they're all trained to think they're better than everyone else, they're smarter than everyone else, but they should always have their way, their entitlement. Well, there you have it. Academia and borderlines is a match made in hell, boy. It's just the way it is. It just fuels it. It's throwing fucking gas on a fire, on a raging inferno. Your mother's the raging inferno. Add academia, add a cushy job in that environment, you are just throwing freaking gasoline on that. Your mother's obviously a borderline. Obviously. I'm now 28 and I've gone no contact with her for many years, but she will pop up once a year and send me a heartbreak emoji, acting like she has tried everything to be in my life. But that's a joke. She didn't even pay child support, and I'm surprised they tried to even make her pay it. She didn't even pay child support, and the only help she ever gave me was sending me money for Christmas. Not even calling me on my birthday or anything. She said, "You made your bed, now lay in it." When I told her the reason we don't talk is because of how abusive she was, she believes my dad brainwashed me and my sister, and she also thinks we only hate her because of the simple fact she divorced my dad, which is totally false, since we were relieved when she finally got out of our lives. Well, it's unbelievable that she kind of just skips over this whole thing that she moved another dude into the house, and you all left to move into an apartment, left your house to move in an apartment with your disabled dad. And yet this borderline will still cry victim. Why? Because I'm telling you, the academia fuels that shit. It's gas on the fire. And it gives her an entitlement, an inflated head, an inflated ego to sit up on that fucking high horse. Why you even got her, like, at this point, like, look, with a borderline, at this point, the only thing you can do is cut him out completely. She is a monster. She is a monster, and she's always going to be a monster. This is why, okay, this is going to be another addition to the borderline monsters. They're not victims, but they will always play the victim. They are monsters, not victims. Again, you're going to continue to keep hearing these people online and in society cry, "I have BPD, I'm a borderline, I'm a victim." No, you're fucking not. Everything Summer's mother done here is pre-calculated, is planned, is she's calculating, how do I make myself out to be the victim? It may be a personality disorder, but it's a personality disorder she chooses. My sister ended up becoming a drug addict, not surprising. And my mom blames my dad for that too, saying drug addiction is in his family's genes. In reality, me and my sister have had many talks about how we would have turned out a lot better if we actually had a supported, loving mom. And I'll tell you this, and I've said this on the channel before, when me and my brother, Precious, were going to therapy together, okay, and it was the therapist we went to was the therapist that was originally my mother's therapist, then it turned into marriage therapy, and then it turned into family therapy. So that's how we got involved, and I got involved. And then my mother and father, like, we don't need this anymore. They're like, fuck that. And then me and my brother, because they understood, there's no way to explain what was going on in my house and my family to somebody who's never seen it. The fact that she had saw it firsthand gave her that insight and understanding. Okay, and I will tell you, one of the things she said to me and my brother is the fact that the two of you are not in here with needles in your arms is stunning to me. That you're not both fall down hard drug users is stunning, is a feat within itself. Because that's what being raised by these people, by borderlines, will one of the effects is their children become drug addicts because they have to fucking numb out. They have to numb out from the pain and the abuse and the thoughts and to make your head stop and just to make it go away. Recently, she told me I was a sad case and that I won't get it until my dad dies. She thinks I'm going to come running into her arms when this happens. That's what they think, because she'll think typical borderline, just waiting for you to be alienated, and I'm the only game in town. And that's when she's gonna fucking swoop in. That's when she's gonna swoop in. I told her I'm a successful business owner now, so she can't keep blaming our failings on my dad. She had no idea I started a business, so this enraged her. She always tells me how happy she is now, but she sounds miserable. I blocked her finally. Thank goodness. The thing I worry about is that when she dies, I don't want to feel guilty. Why would you? Why would you? Why would you? The only thing you should feel guilty about when the borderline dies is that you don't feel guilty. You feel guilt over the guilt you don't feel when the borderline dies. That's what it is. That's what it is. The only guilt you should be feeling is the guilt you don't feel. And that can be rationalized down, because the reason you don't feel it is because she was a borderline monster in the first place. Calculating, cold, aware of everything she's done and why she did it. Aware that she's the bad guy trying to present herself as a victim. Aware of all of it. She always thinks she's the victim in her twisted perception, never acknowledges how she treats other people, and says I'm going to regret this when she's gone. This is a big fear of mine because she drilled it into me ever since I was a little girl. I also feel sorry for her because she's clearly mentally ill. It's a condition she chooses. She chooses. Everything you described here is a choice. Is something she planned out. You're going to miss me when I'm gone. Okay, that is a pre-planned statement that she said, I'm going to say this to Summer to get her to pity me, to get her to fear me, to get her to give me my way. It's all calculated to protect the same lie. That's why you can't pity it. She knows what the truth is, and all her lies and all her manipulations are calculated to protect that. That's not what actual crazy people do. There's no rationale. They're all over the fucking place. They have a chemical imbalance. That's not the cluster B personality disorder. That's not the borderline. The borderline understands fully what they're doing when they're doing it. They have pre-planned all of it to get their desired outcome. The only guilt you need to feel when the borderline dies is the guilt that you don't feel guilt. And even that's not rational. And I understand that. Believe me, I feel no guilt over my mother being dead. None. None at all. The only thing that stops me is like, God damn it, what does that say about me? Not much, because I can still go back and listen to Phone Call with Narcissistic Mother every time and be like, oh yeah, that's right. This is why it's so important to know the moment you were broken, because you have to go back every day, sometimes several times a day, to remind you, Oh yeah, this bitch moved a fucking boyfriend into the house and my dad and us had to go living in a fucking apartment. And I'm sure you were probably broken long before that anyway. This is why I kept trying to have a relationship with her out of pity. Yet like clockwork, another huge disappointment or stab in the back was inevitable every time. I would really love if you did a video on my story and would appreciate your thoughts on the whole situation. I don't talk about it much at all, so it sits in my heart like a weighted anchor. Thank you, Ollie. Well, the only guilt you need to feel is you need to be aware of is the guilt that you're not going to that you're not going to feel. That's it. And none of that is rational, Summer. None of it. Your mother made a choice for everything she did. Everything she did. The academia, I mean, that's just throwing fuel on the fire of her entitlement fire. That's all that was. So, be prepared to be able to walk yourself. You're going to have to do this every day these feelings creep in. Take yourself back to the moment you moved that dude into the house. Oh, yeah. I shouldn't feel guilty for her. None. She made her bed. Let her lie in it, as I say. I mean, that's a line I say. That's projection. When she says that, that's projection. She knows she made her bed. And she's going to have to, what she's trying to do is not lie in it. Don't let him. So, hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution, Summer, and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. This channel is completely demonetized by YouTube. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel here and my channels on Rumble. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care.